All right, I'm back again. So I'm going to do a I don't know explanation on the post that I posted that I got so many like comments and views. I think this is one of my most popular posts ever that I post on TikTok. And I haven't even been on TikTok that long. I've only been on TikTok ever since like the ending of last year, like December, November of last year, 2024. And it's 2025. Okay, so I got like over 5,000 views on this post. And this post is the post that I posted about, I don't know if you can see it. It's where I was posting about how, a man can afford to if a man takes a woman out to an expensive restaurant, he can afford her, right? And if a man takes her out to a cheap restaurant, he might not can afford it and it may not be that one. So I'm gonna just read it word for word like what I posted. I said, did it in like a script form kind of way. Said, my dad, a man take you on a cheap date, he's not for you. But if a man take you to a nice, expensive, maybe I should have just kept nice and not expensive, but it don't matter. I mean, people use their common sense, okay? Take you on a nice, expensive, take you to a nice, expensive restaurant, he can afford you. And then I said, me, yes, sir, I understand. Okay, so what my dad was trying to say, my dad told me this about maybe, I'm 43, by the way. My dad told me this probably like when I was in my late teens, early 20s. So we want to say this, he told me this about 20 years ago. And this still does apply today. Okay, so what my dad was trying to tell me, and I even got it back then when I was like a 19 or 20-year-old, okay? I even understood what he was trying to say back then. Okay? So what he was trying to what he was telling me, he told me, I never forget the day he told me, he said, baby, he said, when you start dating, getting out here dating, he said, if a man want to take you to like a fast food restaurant for the first date, he said that's not a good sign about that man. He said that man really is showing you how he really kind of like don't care about the first date. And the first date is the first impression, of a man anyway. And he was just like, well, that man is being too cheap. And if he really likes you and want to be with you, he would take you to a nice, decent restaurant, somewhere kind of a sit down restaurant, somewhere where you sit down and order the food and they bring it to you and y'all can have an intellectual conversation while you're waiting on whatever appetizers, waiting on the food, like a sit down restaurant, not no fast food restaurant like Burger King, McDonald's, Pizza Hut, or nothing like that. That's what he was trying to say. Okay? For those who get it, get it. And for those who don't get it, you just don't get it. Okay? That's all my dad was trying to say. And like I said, I even understood what he was trying to tell me back then 20 years ago. Because it applies to what I'm got going on with dating and going through men today. Okay? So, and he was right. He was so right. He was like, a man, that's how you know. And then he said, especially if a man takes you out to a nice fancy restaurant or expensive. He said nice, fancy, or expensive. He said, now that's the man that you don't have to worry about being cheap. You don't have to worry about him being stingy. He can afford you. Okay? That means that if he can take you out on a nice restaurant date like that, yeah. He said maybe that's the one you kind of need to go towards. That's the one you need to go to. He also told me, he told me a lot of stuff about men. He said he told me not to date pretty boys back in the day. He said he noticed that most of the guys back then I used to like were pretty boys. He said, no, them pretty boys ain't gonna take care of you. He said, and I got so much stuff my dad told me. He also said, and I'm spilling some tea, but I should have tried to save this for the next post or video or whatever. He also said don't date no pretty boys either, because he said, baby, if a man stay in the mirror longer than you do, you don't need to be with that man, cause he care about more about his looks than he care about yours. My dad schooled me, baby. He schooled me on some game, baby. Okay. I could sit up here and go on and on and on for days about the game he schooled me on. But the one that really came to my remembrance, like, was when he told me about the restaurant thing, because I did for my birthday. My significant other took me out to a 5-star restaurant for my birthday. My birthday was just like, what, 2 or 3 weeks ago, right? 2 weeks ago or something like that. So I was like, oh wow, my dad was so right. This man is taking me to a 5-star restaurant. And he wanted to take me to a 5-star restaurant. And he treats me, he is a provider. Also, too, my daddy told me that. He said, if that man wants to take you to on a nice date, whether it don't have to be a restaurant, it could be something else nice and fancy or whatever expensive. It don't have to be eating food. It could be something else. If it's not a cheap date, he said, then that's gonna be your husband. That's gonna be your provider, man. Because that man, if he can provide to take you out on a nice date, then he can provide to help take care of you. Like if y'all decide to get married or whatever. I understood what my dad was saying. He didn't even have to explain it into detail. Like I understood exactly what my dad was trying to say. Well, he was trying to say in one lump sum, one nutshell, is that, okay, baby, if you see a man trying to take you to Burger King, that ain't the one. But if a man trying to take you to like that, a 5-star restaurant, and I'm not talking about Applebee's, not down at Applebee's or nothing like that, but maybe the man can take you on a nice expensive date, the first date. But then after that, the rest of the dates can be regular diggler. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's just that's what he was saying. And the man was right. My dad was right. He know what he talking about. And I know some people ask me in the comments, well, where did he take your mom? I don't know. Back then, that was back in the 80s. I was an 80s baby. I was born in 1982. I don't know back then what they called a 5-star or expensive or fancy or, a nice date back then. I know what he talking about now, but I know probably back then he probably did take my mom to a nice fancy restaurant. Cause my dad is my dad got money, okay, and my dad he got that money, all right. That's why my mom's still with him now. He's a provider. He takes care of my mom. You know what I'm saying? He probably did take my mom on a nice fancy date when they was dating back in the day. Before I came into the picture, before I came into this world. You know what I'm saying? So I said, why not listen to my daddy? Him and my mom been married for 40 years, I think? Something like that. So 35, 40 years, somewhere up in there. They've been married a long time. So the man know what he talking about. He, like I said, he taught me a lot of stuff, okay, about men. Like I said, it's other stuff that I don't want to give away right now that he told me about men, because he a man. Why not the best person to listen to when it comes to dating a man is another man, and that's your father. Y'all can say whatever y'all want to say. Oh, your daddy didn't say that. Your mama told you that. No, my mama didn't. My mama didn't tell me that. My daddy told me that. Like I said, I learned a lot from my daddy. But just because what he, I'm always been a hard working woman myself anyway. I still work hard to this day. I still make my own money. I get my own money. But at the same time, don't no woman want to date a broke, cheap man anyway. If you a woman out there and you want to date like that, then to each his own, that's on you. If you want a man to take you on a coffee date, that's on you. I don't do a burger date, pizza date, whatever. Don't let the first date be that. But maybe after the second, third, whatever. But the first impression. I mean, I know sometimes some dates can be a movie date. That's fine. But maybe the first date might not be the expensive date. Maybe that man might not have that much money at first. Maybe he might have to take you to a movie date. I'd rather go to a movie date than to go to a burger date, get some burgers and fries. But anyway, I'm different. I'm a little extra. I ain't like every other woman. Okay, I'm different. Okay, if I know better, I do better. I was taught better, so I do better. I know better. Okay, so every woman, what works for any other woman, that's fine. If that works for you, if you went on a coffee date and now that coffee date is your husband or your wife, hey, kudos, good to you. I mean, good for you. You know what I'm saying? I don't prefer to go on no coffee date because I don't even drink coffee. I don't even like coffee. Okay? So that won't be the date for me. But now if you take me on a date, talking about I go buy you some drinks, we go to a bar, we go out to the club, okay, Now I could do that when it comes to drinks, but drinking coffee, I ain't no drinking coffee type of person. So what works for other people may not work. Then the lady that like to go on a coffee date, she might not drink alcohol. So maybe that might be the perfect ideal date for her. What may work for somebody else may not work for you, or vice versa. Whatever. All I'm trying to say is it don't matter if the first date is not an expensive date. What that man, if that man play his cards right, if I was a man, and and I was trying to impress, because that, if a man ain't trying to impress a woman, then what are you doing? What is he doing? He ain't trying to impress you to like try to keep you. Then what are you doing as a man? You know what I'm saying? So anyway, it's just all about first impressions. I never heard nothing about second and third impressions. I've always heard about first impressions. Okay. Maybe that man might not have a whole lot of money for the first date. But maybe the second or third date, he getting his stuff together. He getting his money up. He getting his money right. And maybe he might be able to take her to a nice, elegant, fancy restaurant. Or it could be on a nice trip to wherever she had been desiring to want to go to. Maybe she want to take a cruise trip. Maybe she want to, go to Miami, go to South Beach or something. Maybe she want to go to Atlanta. Maybe she want to do something besides just regular dates. And maybe, he might not have that money at first, but he probably going to say, okay, maybe like the second date, I'm going to really impress her and show her, like, I know that first date was just maybe a little burger date, but this second date, man, I'm gonna go all out for her, man. I'm gonna do this. I'm trying to impress her. I'm trying to keep her, man, because I know if I don't get it together and try to impress her and make her feel like, she that woman for me, then she gonna stray off to another man. And if that other man over there is impressing her and he already got his money right, he already got his stuff together, he already, willing to take her on an expensive date and take her on a nice fancy trip, man, I already know she gonna be with that man over there. So man, I gotta get my stuff together, man. I gotta save my money. I might have to work a little overtime on my job a little bit, just to try to impress her. That's what I'm talking about right there. Just to show that woman. Because let me tell you something, man. If you ain't out here trying to do that, and if she see better over there than what she got going on over here, she gonna stray over there. And then you gonna be wondering like, hey, I've been texting and calling you. You ain't been returning my calls on my text or replying back to my text. She gonna be like, why should I go over here when over there is a little bit better? This man over here talking about is what I'm talking about. I be wanting to go out on trips sometimes. He said, he ready to pay for my flight to come. Like they like what's the name say? What she say? Like Carisha talking about, he flew me out. He flew out. He paid for my plane ticket, flew me out. She gonna go with that one. Oh girl, guess what? Now, this is what another thing I want to say to you ladies, right? You with your homegirls, or you don't even have to be with your homegirls. You could be with your family member, your mama, your sister, your cousins, right? And you could tell them, hey, I met this great guy today, and he's supposed to be taking me out on a date tomorrow night. I don't know where we're going to go. He said he was going to surprise me, right? And if you one of them type of women, you okay with telling your homegirls or family and friends that the first date I went on with this guy was at Burger King? They gonna laugh at you. They gonna be like, what? The first date y'all went where? Burger King. What? The first date y'all went to Starbucks. What? Oh, y'all went to Baskin Robbins to get some ice cream. What? The first date? I would be embarrassed. I would be so embarrassed to tell. Do you know when my significant other took me out to that 5-star restaurant? I was so happy to tell my mama, tell my daddy, tell my friends. I'm like, look. And I had proof because I'm a vlog, I'm a content creator on YouTube as well. So y'all can go see that video at Clarissa The Bo Queen on YouTube, where I vlogged me being at the 5-star restaurant. So a lot of people won't think I'm lying. But it's just the fact that, and ever since when I was in that 5-star restaurant, it made me think about my daddy. It made me think about what my daddy told me 20 years ago. And I look back on things and I said, you know what? That man was right. And I felt so good to go back and tell my homegirls and my family, hey, my man took me on a 5-star restaurant. Now, what I look like telling my family, hey, my man took me to McDonald's for the date. They gonna laugh. They gonna look at me like, what the? Took you McDonald's? And if you gonna be like, that's like Pick Misha. Pick Misha be so happy to go do some stuff like that. I'm sorry, I'm not a Pick Misha. Pick Misha be happy to go to Burger King, McDonald's, and Zaxby's and stuff like that. Let her be that. But every woman deserves that. Like I said, to the men out there, I'm not trying to downplay any man that maybe the first date will be a cheap date. But ladies, if you dating a guy and he might not have all this stuff together right away, that's okay. Maybe the second or third date, it might be way better date than the first one. I'm just saying, if the man take you on a coffee date or ice cream or something like that, I wouldn't go back and brag about that mess to my folks and my homegirls. I'll wait till he take me on that nice date, then that's something to brag about. But if you like it, I love it. If y'all women out there that like to go on coffee dates, the first date, like to go get pizza and burgers and sandwiches at Subway on the first date, that's on y'all, boo-boo. That's on y'all. That ain't on me. So that's all he was trying to say. All my dad was trying to say was, if a man take his time and take you out on a nice date, it don't have to be a restaurant. But the example that he gave me was the restaurant. But it could be something else, then that man is really going to be the one for you, most likely. If he's taking out the time to do that, and plan the date and all that stuff. And it's not a cheap date. It's a nice date. Let me say nice and not expensive, because a lot of y'all act kind of crazy, run away when y'all hear the word expensive. So that means, when people say, even though I said expensive, like if you're a rich person, see, rich people don't act like that. When you say expensive, that's just normal to them. But if you have a poor mindset and you say the word expensive, I need to, and you say, oh, that's expensive. I couldn't see how you paid that much for that. I need to stay away from you, because I have a rich mindset. And the person that I need to be with need to have a rich mindset too. I don't need to be with nobody that have a poor mindset. So I definitely, I want a man to take me on a nice, expensive restaurant because I have a rich mindset, But that's a whole nother video. That's a whole nother story with the rich mindset thing. I could sit around here and talk about that for another 10, 20 minutes. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about a man taking you on a nice date. And when a man does that, that means he can afford you. If a man take you on a cheap date, he may not can afford you right now. Just because he took you on a cheap date, ladies, okay, and men, all right, it's not the end of the world. Oh, he took me on a cheap date and I ain't talking to him. No, give the man, like they say, people, 3 strikes you out. People give people chances, 3 chances. Some people give people 5 chances or whatever. Ladies, that's up to you, whatever you want. But if that satisfies you going on a coffee date or a Subway date or a Pizza Hut date, if that satisfies you on the first date, then fine, that's you. That is you. But any real woman that wants to be wined and dined and treated like a queen and do, baby, we gonna sit back and wait. Any real woman is not desperate to go on a date to Burger King. That real woman will sit back for the next year or two until that right man comes along and take her on a nice date. If she got to do that, that's what she got to do. Then that's what she got to do. And that's probably what she gonna do. Because you know why? She not gonna settle for less. Okay? Some women, I'm not even settling for less on the first date. Because if you do that, then that man is automatically gonna assume that, oh, she don't mind settling for less. So I know if I get in a relationship with her, I could do less with her because she ain't gonna mind that. That's all I'm saying. And I understood what my daddy was trying to tell me. And I understood it 20 years ago and understand it now. And that's all I was saying. So I say for those who get it, get it. And for those who don't, you just don't. But I will agree to disagree, and I will disagree to agree. Okay? So, anyways, I hope whoever didn't understand the post understand it now. So I'm gonna end it, and I will holler at y'all later. Bye.